Hey guys, it's Bougie Bree here. I just took a break from doing my hair because I'm home alone and it's impossible to get silence around here if I'm not home alone. So I took a break and I wanted to just do a makeup tutorial. Today I'm going to be testing a couple of my new Too Faced products that you saw in my unboxing video, and I'm also going to be using just some of my regular favorites. So let's get started. Today I'm going to be testing the Too Faced Do You Fresh Glow Luminous Face Primer, and this is in that Radiant Pearl because as you see I do have a red undertone. I don't have a spray tan right now. It's been faded like over a week ago, so getting a spray tan tomorrow. So I'm going to use this today. Like in the unboxing, I said it's very smooth. It's not thick like a regular primer. Next is time for foundation. I'm going to be using the Do You, which I also had unboxed in my unboxing video, the Full Coverage Fresh Glow Foundation. This is the nude. This is the lighter shade of the two I got because like I said, I always buy a light and a dark, one for when I have a spray tan, and this is for more of my natural color. I'm a beauty blender person. I've done the makeup brushes for foundation, all that, but all in all, I'm a beauty blender person. I love it. I'm going to wet it with my Mario Badescu. I use the green spray, facial spray. Just gonna like douse my beauty blender with this. It's so thick. I mean, it's a full coverage foundation, so you'd expect it to be thick. And we're just gonna have at it. It doesn't feel thick and heavy like a full coverage foundation would, but it feels very wet. And maybe that's just because the primer didn't completely dry. I am going to do my brows, which is a little difficult to do on camera because I like to be close up to my brows when I'm doing them. So first I'm going to take Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel just to kind of tame the brows where I want them. Now my eyebrows are microbladed. I did get them microbladed a year and a half ago, but they have faded a lot since microblading, so I do fill them in. I used to not at all when they were fresh. I do need to go for a touch-up soon. So now I'm going to take Anastasia's Brow Dip, and I use soft brown, which might be a little weird because I'm a redhead. I've done the caramel, I've done the auburn. I prefer the soft brown because I like a darker eyebrow, a little bit more like contrast coming from the brow. And then this is Anastasia's brow brush. It's the double-ended, like the spoolie and the slanted, firmer little brush. I line the bottom all the way through, but with soft strokes. I don't like a harsh line. And with your brow dip and doing your brows, don't worry if you don't have a straight line or you smudge a little, because we're gonna conceal the brows after anyways. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same to the top. First, I'm going to use the spoolie to brush out that line so it's not very harsh. So now I'm gonna go back on my brow, and what I do here is the little stroke likes, just very soft. In the front, I just go from bottom to top. And then I start to kind of do a diagonal. And then what I'm gonna do is kind of from my arch into the tail, I'm gonna go down in a diagonal, because you know how your hair falls different directions. And then also in the tail, an upward diagonal from the bottom. It's gonna help you get way more of the stroke-like instead of just a solid brow. So here we're just gonna brush back through here. So you might look really harsh and a little crazy right now. Like I said, we're not done. I'm going to take, I can't even tell you what this is. This is a MAC brush. I've had it for years. You can see it's like all scratched off and there's literally nothing left to it. But obviously it's a good brush, it's held up. So I'm going to take the lightest concealer I own, which is NARS, the Creamy Radiant Concealer, Radiant Creamy Concealer. in light 1 Chantilly. It's literally the lightest concealer possible. And I am going to just dab a little bit under my brows so that we can carve them out. A little bit in the center, because I am going to almost fade the concealer into my brows to get that really more ombre effect. And then just a little bit on the tops. Tops usually don't need as much carving out. What's that? So I'm just gonna take this angled brush and just go ahead and carve out my brows, concealing them. And this will also allow for an easier highlight application later when I'm doing my eyeshadow. Now I know a lot of people do eyeshadow first, but one of the biggest reasons why I do eyeshadow last is because I conceal my brows. If I had my eyeshadow on, I wouldn't be able to conceal my brows. And again, you might see everything's not completely blended yet, but that's okay. Then same thing on the top. Sharpening up the edges and getting that tail, because I had a thick tail, and now that I just came down with my concealer, I kind of erased that and made it to that point. I like a pointy tail. And now here's where it can get a little tricky with the middle. I always just like to slowly go into the brow. Don't press heavy, it's a very light swipe. And you're just gonna kind of do one of these. It's almost like you're highlighting the front end of your brow. You know, you get some of the concealer on your brush, you just kind of go in with it. So it's gonna lighten up the front of your brow. And then you're gonna take your spoolie on your other eyebrow brush. And this is the time now you can go back in and fix anything you don't like. Okay, so next, because of the redness I have right now, I mean, the foundation did a pretty good job of covering it up. I still see it on my chin. So I'm going to take my NARS concealer. I'm gonna cover up those little blemishes kind of all the way. And then just the usual concealer spots under eye. Now, because I have a full coverage foundation on, I don't need a cake on my concealer because I already have full coverage underneath it. Forehead. Bridge of my nose. Okay. And then I'm also today going to use my YSL Touche Enchalant Radiant Touch. It's supposed to be a brightener, so I'm wanting it to offset the redness, and it's a little bit darker than my concealer, because my foundation, this concealer is very light. So I'm just gonna like put a couple dots under each eye, just mix it in right with my concealer, and especially down on my chin because of all that redness I have. I want to brighten that up. I'm just gonna do a little V on my forehead, a little bit on the nose, won't hurt. Back to the Beauty Blender. Just gonna blend all this. Now, I don't like taking this too low. I like taking it to the corner of my eye and the inner corner of my eye and just above my cheekbone. I don't take it below my cheekbone. Then I do my eyelid, forehead, and this is where you can blend out the concealer you use to conceal your brows. It is time to set my concealer, and I'm also a fan of setting my foundation because I don't like to have a wet feeling. I use Laura Mercier's translucent setting powder. I've used this for years. I love it. I just always have it on hand. I'll never not have it. Just gonna get a little bit in the lid. Now I use two different brushes for setting. I use this smaller Morphe brush. Got it from Ulta, fairly cheap. I just use this for under my eye so I can get a little bit more precision so it doesn't just fall everywhere. I used to bake my setting powder, but I honestly don't find much of a difference from applying it this way and baking. And baking, I feel like you're just wasting unnecessary product. So I stopped baking and it saves time, so why not? For the rest of my face, I take, this is a Sonia Kushak brush I got from Target, I don't know, years ago. It was on clearance, so I grabbed it and I love it. It's a very fluffy brush. It's not dense, it's just a fluffy brush. It's a little bit bigger. I like how it has the point at the top, so to carve out your cheek. I like this, the look of this foundation so much better already. I didn't really like it on first application. I think the luminous finish is too much for me. Like a dewy finish is okay, but luminous is just a little too much. So next is going to be like a bronzer contour. I'm not doing a full harsh contour today because I am using my lighter shade of foundation. When I have my spray tan and I have a darker shade of foundation, I use a cream contour, but today I'm just going to be using Estee Lauder's Bronze Goddess. This is in medium. I believe there's 3 shades. This is huge, this this bronzer. As you can see, it's very loved. I've had it for a couple years and I use it almost every day, so it's definitely worth the splurge. I'm going to be using, this is a Morphe brush. Got it from a set from Ulta. And like I said, it's not gonna be very harsh contour. This is a smaller of my contour brushes. Just because I'm not setting a powder contour or a cream contour, I'm actually contouring with this brush. I use the smaller of my 2 brushes. It's an angled brush. Just gonna go right here. I kind of do a little bit of a C. Just a little, almost like a little check mark. Check. Okay. And this is very buildable. You can always go back in and make it like, get a harsher contour if you'd like. Then I just get the sides of the brush with the bronzer. Sides of my nose. I don't have time to get a tiny little brush and do my nose. Like, let's be realistic here. Forehead, you know, the big old 5 head. Gotta make that look visually smaller. So now, normally all the places I'm putting a powder contour on is where I would put a cream contour, blend that with my beauty blender, and then set it with this. And then I like just brush a little bit along my chin line. Last for the face is highlight. I'm going to be using MAC Soft and Gentle Mineralized Skin Finish. This is one of the first highlights I ever used way back when without even realizing it was highlight. It was before that was like a big thing, like the glow. I almost used it like I used it like with a blush or as a blush. I don't even know. I used to have like a highlight that was like this thick. It wasn't cute, but we've learned. Progress. This is Anastasia's highlight brush. Again, it's rubbed off, so I'm sorry I can't tell you guys what it is, but I love this brush because I used to use the fan highlight brushes and those are just like not like controllable. This you can control and be very precise about where you want that highlight. So I love this brush. And it doesn't pick up a lot of product, which is nice because you can really control how much contour you're picking up, how much you're putting on, where it's going. I love the bridge of my nose to be nice and highlighted. Now that I'm looking at my face, I want to darken the bronzer on my forehead a little bit more. That's the beauty of makeup. You can always go back in and change anything, build. And that's, when I'm buying bronzers, that's something I really look for is a buildable formula. One of my other favorite buildable formulas is the Hula bronzer from Benefit. It's very buildable, and especially me using many different shades of foundation because, you know, if I have a spray tan or not, I need a very versatile bronzer that I can use when I'm, you know, pale and one that I can use when I'm tan. So this is a good product for that. Next, onto the eyes. I'm using Anastasia's Modern Renaissance palette. This palette is very loved. It is very used. It's very old. I love all of Anastasia's eyeshadow palettes. Her eyeshadow formula is very pigmented. I do find that certain shades do have a lot of like fallout when you're putting it on your brush and you're kind of wasting product. Today I'm gonna go over just kind of a classic eyeshadow look that I've done a lot. I'm gonna start with the Golden Orc, and that's gonna go on the top half of my eyelids. I'll use an eyeshadow primer, and that's just because I've already put concealer over it, I put setting powder. If there's ever a little bit of creasing, I'll just dab it right off, and I never have issues. I used to use the eyeshadow primer, but again, it's just one less thing I can cut out of both time-wise and budget-wise. So, and I'm actually just gonna take one of the Anastasia double-ended eyeshadow brushes, and you get these with all of her palettes. So I have like 5 of them, and I absolutely love them. It's a fluffy brush. It's soft and it's fluffy, but it's not big. It's a little like a little more dense, I guess you could say, like in the distribution. But it's great for blend. It's great for precision and great for like overall blending. So I love this brush. So again, we're taking Golden Orc. That's just gonna go on this top half of my brow, all the way up until my brow line, but not touching my brow. Okay, so because I have hooded eyelids, thanks mom, I always put my darker transition color above my crease. So that's what I'm gonna do today. And here I'm gonna go into the burnt orange, same exact brush. And we're just gonna do just a back and forth windshield motion above my crease, but not as high as the color I just applied. This is a Morphe blending brush. It's a little bit bigger of a brush than the Anastasia one we were just using. So this I'm gonna use for the outer corners, and this is where I'm gonna do like a dark brown. And this I really wanna control, and this brush I love because you just barely move it and it just blends. It blends so nice. I'm gonna go into the Cyrus Umber color. It's dark and it's pigmented, so little at a time, or you're just gonna, just be careful. See how dark that is already? And I barely started applying. Now I want this on my actual eyelid, and I'm gonna bring it a little bit up, and again on top of my crease, not in it. I want it darker on my eyelid and almost like fading up into my crease, or above my crease. So we're gonna do almost like a little C, and I like just doing kind of like a padding just to get where I want that color. And I'm just gonna blend over to about halfway above my crease. I'm not lifting up my brush at all. Staying right on my eyelid. What I always do is I go back in with this brush that I used for the first 2 colors, and I just kind of blend everything at the top. I'm gonna take a very flat eyeshadow brush, something like this. This is from a Sephora collection. And I'm going to take the most, I guess, nude color I have as far as like skin tone goes in the current palette I'm using. So in this, it's gonna be that tempera color. Take this. And I always like to just sweep under my eyes and up. Helps give you a little bit cleaner of a line and really make sure that underneath your eyes is set. Okay, so even though the outer corner of my eye got a little messy with that eyeshadow, we just take that and we clean it up a lot. You can even just use your normal setting powder, but since mine's translucent, I like using something that has a little bit of pigment in it. using a flat brush, but a smaller brush, something like this, again, from a Sephora collection. I am going to take the Primavera, which I'm almost out of, and that's gonna go on the inner corners all the way to the middle of my lid. This is a shimmer, so everything I've used so far is a matte, and this is gonna come right in and brighten everything up. All the way in the corners. It's not really a cut crease because it's kind of fading into all the other colors you have on already. We're almost done with our eyes. So next I'm going to take a very small brush. This is an It Cosmetic brush. I couldn't remember for a second, from Ulta. It's a very dense, little tiny brush. I have two just like this, because this one I use for highlight and the other one for Morphe I use for darker liner on the bottom. So this one's the highlight one. I am going to use, what's this? Vermeer right here. And I'm just going to lightly highlight the arch of my brow. And I'm barely even touching that brush into my eyelid line. Then I'm gonna bring that all the way into the center, but I'm not gonna redip it. And then I'm also gonna bring it all the way out to the bottom, or to the tail. So that highlight is mostly right there under the arch. You could also use the actual highlight that you used on your cheek for this. And the last thing I'm gonna do with a colored eyeshadow is with my other small brush, I'm gonna get into this Real Gerd, and this is gonna go on my bottom water line and just my bottom lash line, just kind of buff some on there. I always make the outer corner a little bit darker than the rest and then just kind of drag it all the way to the inner corner. And it's gonna meet the highlight that you've already placed there. I really like a color on the bottom. I feel like, especially with me having blue eyes, like this or a pink, always makes my eyes like super icy, really pop. So there's that. Time for liner, lashes, and we're done with the eyes. So these lashes are Cocoa lashes. I believe these are Girl About Town, if I'm not mistaken. I've already used them a couple times, so make sure to get all the glue off there. I get a lot of questions where people are asking me, how do you get those lashes on with your nails? Oh, your lashes are so long. Are those yours? Are they extensions? This, that. I'm like, okay, well, of course they're not mine. No, they aren't extensions. I don't do lash extensions because they're just expensive. And because I have blonde eyelashes normally, if one fan falls out or a couple fall out in between my fills, I've tried them before. In between my fills, it looks like I have like highlights in my lashes, and I wind up wearing mascara and it just ruins the whole set anyways. I put my lash glue on now. That way, by the time I have my liner and mascara on, they'll be ready to glue on. So now I'm going to be using Kat Von D's Tattoo eyeliner. This is just the Trooper Black. I love Kat Von D's eyeliner. This one or the Stila Stay All Day. I always start at the inner corner. I know some people like to start with their wing. But I like to start in and build it out. Then I'm gonna come out here, almost right where that darker brown almost stops. And I'm just gonna bring it in and make a wing. And then we're gonna fill that out and connect it. Oh wow, I just really messed up. I have like 2 tips. So you mess up your eyeliner, don't just keep going because it's gonna turn out worse, I promise you. Is I take the concealer brush that I used to conceal my brows with, just dab a little bit of concealer on there, and conceal whatever you messed up. Done. And you can just do this regularly to get that sharper line anyways. Time for mascara. This is Too Faced Better Than Sex. I got it with a Too Faced palette, like came in the package. I do really like Better Than Sex, but I'm not always too concerned about what mascara I'm using. So I'm putting lashes on anyways, so drugstore mascara, L'Oreal Paris, whatever. This glue looks almost dry. Almost dry. So, it's literally just gonna like stick as soon as I put it on, which I love. There's a little glob of glue in the middle still, so I like to spread that out. Make sure there's no glue on your tweezers or you're gonna have problems like lifting them away. Last but not least, lipstick, lip gloss, whatever you prefer. I'm a lip liner person all day, every day. This is Kylie Jenner's, one of her single lip liners. It's actually from the Kris Jenner collection, and this is Give Me a Kiss. I love Kylie's liners. I love them. MAC's like normal pencil liners, not the pro longwear liners. MAC's liners and Kylie liners are literally the only liners I own or use. I'm gonna line first, and then I always fill in my lips with the liner. I love lip liner because it gives you the ability to overline if you want to. It's really easy to create an ombre effect on your lips with liner versus just lipstick. I feel like lip liner lasts longer than lipstick. Even if I use a matte lipstick by itself versus a matte lipstick on top of a lip liner, with the lip liner, it always lasts longer. Or maybe the lipstick fades off and you just have the liner left. I don't know. But now I'm going to fill in my lips completely. I love Kylie's liners. They're so smooth, they're so creamy, they're not drying. So to finish this look off, I'm going to be taking a MAC lip gloss in Very Go Lightly. I'm just gonna apply that into the center of my lips. And my like Cupid's bow. It's almost like a highlight for your lips. So that's today's look, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and feel free to ask. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.